September is eclipse season, and our first eclipse is a Pisces lunar eclipse on September 7th, 2025, exact at 2:09 p.m. Eastern Time, so be sure and adjust for your location. We have a lot of emotional growth and awareness happening and rising to the surface with this lunar eclipse. And you may notice, especially if you watch my videos regularly, that there are more planets and points here on this chart, as I have brought in more of the asteroids because they are also contributing to what is happening with this eclipse. So let's start with the basics here, where the lunar eclipse is about the moon at 15 degrees of Pisces, 22 minutes, conjunct that north node in Pisces, revealing that this is a lunar eclipse meant to take you higher in the Pisces energies, which include compassion, forgiveness, unity consciousness, true love, unconditional love, understanding how you move through all of the big life experiences that you perhaps have accumulated to this point. And that's because the Pisces energy holds culmination energy. And we're meant to look at, what am I learning through my own emotional awareness that I'm taking to new heights with that north node. The north node signals that this is a point of learning and growth. There are often fated developments, destined changes, trajectory shifts, and we're feeling it. You could also feel highly sensitive, more emotional, more tuned in to your intuition, maybe figuring out how to filter and process what is going on around you, what's happening in the collective. This energy can be tapped into the chaos in all the different energies in the world and be overwhelmed by it. But we're meant to make it personal. That's the moon. Make it personal to what you are learning, what you're filtering out, and what you're choosing to take forward that really expands the heart chakra, crown chakra. I'm seeing a lot of light pink and crystalline energies here. And it's interesting because I'm seeing it as a focal point through the storm. And maybe there's something here that you're feeling and it's guiding you. The feelings are guiding us. The intuitive messages rather, are coming in. And I'm seeing that there could be some blasting open, energies blasting open a new truth or higher perspective that you didn't fully see or understand if you have been too earth-based. The sun at 15 degrees of Virgo, conjunct Mercury, conjunct the south node. There's been a lot in front of us we have to work on, be responsible for, get it done. A big part of our experience, of course, in Virgo season is on these Virgo areas of our lives that require us to show up, get things done, assess what's working, what's paying off. But these are not new energies. We've been talking about the South Node in Virgo, specifically even when Mars was conjunct the South Node back in, what was that, July? So we've already had in our awareness an understanding of what we are transitioning away from in our daily lives. The Virgo energy is where we have to take care of things and be responsible. This includes, I'm sure you've heard, about your physical body, your health, what you're eating, and if it's supporting the energy your body runs on every day. These are almost like some baseline habits and routines that we just take for granted. You get up in the morning and you have your breakfast and you go about your day, and you're on your phone and you do this and you do that, and it just has become the autopilot area of our life. But with the South Node here and with the eclipses happening on this access point, we're changing our lifestyles. But Virgo wants to do it in a methodical, slow, controlled way. Don't overwhelm me with too much big change at once. I can't handle it. I don't want to figure it out. I want to be able to take things as they come. And so we've been very earthbound, as we should be. But this has been about looking at, is your mind, the Mercury here, is your mind seeing the changes that are needed? Are you open to making those small little shifts? Because this is going to be a Pisces lunar eclipse that could flood in new emotional awareness and understanding of what you are transitioning away from, and it leads a void or uncertainty or the unknown. Because a big part of Pisces is trusting the unknown, sailing through the fog. And then you have questions. Is this a mirage? Is this real? And so we could have a deeper connection to our senses here with the Pisces lunar eclipse that is meant to guide you forward. Again, it's very personal and internal. The Pisces energy is private. It's leave me alone to let me figure this out. It's just let me be in my own space. I need to feel into this. I need time to think this through, figure out a next course of action, figure out a solution or a process that can work, because something is coming through that's not working, and it hasn't been. And maybe you have felt like I just keep applying duct tape, and the duct tape keeps cracking and breaking or being ripped off. And the Pisces lunar eclipse wants to set you free. And yet it does require understanding that you're meant to move away from the ineffective Virgo habits where the energy has been too small, where it's been too small. Now, Virgo is the master organizer. Virgo is excellent at taking care of the essentials, making sure everything in that bathroom cupboard has a place, ensuring that things are simplified. But it could be too small. What is too small for you now? What part of your reality has felt like it's been confining or holding you back, especially mentally? And this is a lunar eclipse to expand into the heart, emotion, and intuitive awareness that is much fuller here. And it feels quite bright. And so you have this stark contrast between this is actually what feels good, but my life might not be able to contain it or hold it. And so this is a lunar eclipse of acknowledging what needs to change in your world in order to hold these higher frequencies, this new awareness. Again, this can be a sense of expanding dreams, expanding love, more that you want to feel, more that you want to embody. And there's big realizations here around, okay, this is actually what feels good, and it doesn't fit in my life. and then begins a process, or continues rather, a process of how do I change the reality of my world, which can feel overwhelming, which can feel like, I don't know how to tackle this. There's too much going on. How do you herd the cats? You know, there's just a lot here that can feel like there is overwhelm around the changes you want to make and not seeing a clear pathway to get there. Now, in addition to this moon conjunct the North Node in Pisces, the Pisces energy is ruled by Neptune, 1 degree Aries retrograde, which is where your frequency is connected to the new beginning, the new start that's been in play for at least the past number of months. This Neptune moved into Aries in late March of this year. And so you've been getting the whispers, nudges, and insights into what it could be. And I find it fascinating that during the Pisces lunar eclipse, we now have this Saturn back in Pisces, covering territory it was last May of this year. And at the very end of Pisces here, right? 29 degrees, the end of Pisces, the end of the whole zodiac wheel, a point of extinction, a void, the point of looking at the work that needs to be taken care of, where you have to invest in the physical transitions that you understand, okay, I have to let this go to begin this. Like, this is a really fascinating lineup here with Saturn at the end and Neptune at the beginning. So there is a big rebirth underway, and you could feel very split. You're split between timelines, split between realities, even maybe internally split. And keep in mind that Pisces is a sign of duality. It's where our spiritual energy meets our humanness, and where our humanness desires a connection to our spiritual perspective. And so it's an ongoing flow of energy that creates confusion, because you realize, I am bigger than this human body, but I exist in this human realm. And I'm sensing that I'm in between realms. I'm in between stages in my life. I can see the new dream, that maybe I don't know how to get there yet, but I'm also understanding, but I gotta take care of this stuff. I've gotta complete something. Now, in your life, it might not be something that is physical, although with Saturn it often is. But in Pisces, it's about completing the energy cycle, the karma or unfinished emotional ties, part of a soul contract, soul lesson. It's something that you've already been in. And the lunar eclipse gives a kickstart to the transition journey, more that you have to transition away from. And so I feel that this Saturn is going to continue to be important throughout September, because our next eclipse is the Virgo solar eclipse opposing Saturn. And that's going to be make this Saturn more prominent. So you're getting a heads up here of what work needs to be done. And I feel too like what I'm hearing is, don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. Saturn is the taskmaster and the timekeeper. And so your time is being invested in the endings and what you've been learning. And Saturn in Pisces can be emotionally heavy. You could feel really discouraged. You could feel depressed and uncertain. And there's something about that that's right on time, because as we're closing out a cycle, you're understanding the parts of yourself that are ending as you evolve and move forward, especially emotionally, so that you're not repeating the same approaches, habits, whatever it may be, in the new cycle. And so you could feel like, yeah, I know I've really changed. My spiritual path has deeply evolved me. And yet here I am having to take care of this stuff or this thing or be in this reality that is no longer a fit. And there's a built-in discomfort with that, especially when you're then realizing that it feels confining and small to the expansiveness of the energy that you're really, it's like holding even more. So maybe you feel like you're walking a tightrope between realities, crossing a big threshold between old versions of yourself and new versions of your life that you sense are coming in. But you could have an emotional heaviness. And again, there's something divine in that too. You know, the soul is here for all experiences, all emotions on the full spectrum. But there's meant to be, there is a way forward. I mean, that's what that North Node in Pisces is showing you. There is a new path going forward. You just can't take the old baggage. You can't take the old stuff. And so here is Saturn cleaning out your old stuff, your old ways of being, your old coping mechanisms. In Pisces, it's how we can disassociate. It's escapism. It's where we turn our emotions when we're not sure what to do with something, if it feels really big. Resistance, avoidance. This is where you might be seeing some things in yourself. And I feel too, like part of the Virgo energy is to be your own observer. Observe yourself, you know, step back from that personality that you're embodying in this lifetime. Step back and observe, and even, you know, speak in a third person about yourself. Wow, she is really feeling this. He is really going through this. Be the observer, because as soon as you step back and detach, you're going to also connect with the wisdom of these changes and of being in between two chapters in your life. Now, this moon in Pisces is receiving a trine from Jupiter at 19 degrees of Cancer. And that supports trusting what feels right for you. This can also bring up past memories, family dynamics, childhood impressions, anything from your early experiences in life is the Cancer imprint. And with Jupiter here, it makes it bigger. So the trine is meant to show you what you are growing and perhaps doing differently, because Jupiter wants you to gain wisdom from your experiences, from where you've been, learning from the past and applying it in a way that will help your spiritual growth now. So change is highlighted here that feels good. There could even be a sense of, I'm not going to go back to that old experience, to that old version of myself. I'm ready to have this emotional reset that is also moving me forward. Because you can see that this Jupiter is also trining that North Node, which supports the growth, and it happens faster and easier. And then the sextile to the South Node is that you can take inventory and stock of, yeah, that's what I've done before. Yeah, I can see how that worked previously, and I'm going to make a new choice. This Cancer energy is cardinal water, and it's bringing in emotional growth and a new approach that acknowledges perhaps those previous patterns, but there's a sense of, but I want to do it differently this time. And then we also have here a Water Grand Trine with the asteroids over here in Scorpio. Juno at 23 degrees of Scorpio, Vesta at 27 degrees of Scorpio. And what I think is fascinating is that not only are they working with Jupiter and the North Node, but then they're also approaching this trine to Saturn. And Juno is connected to devotion, partnership, loyalty, commitments, marriage. In Scorpio, what she's passionate about, but what she's learned as well. I mean, Juno actually had to deal with a lot of betrayal from Jupiter. And so there's an emotional processing here of relational experiences that have formed you and imprinted on your emotional body lessons in trust, how you trust others, how you trust yourself, how you continue to move on or move forward. Vesta is tending to our sacred soul flame that never dies. It's the flame within us that keeps guiding us, brings in new light, new warmth, an ongoing sense of passion for showing up in your skin, in your physical body. Vesta is usually associated with home and hearth, what feels like home to you, the passionate feelings of home. And so together there can be deep healing here that the Scorpio energy transforms by facing the fears, facing the past, facing what you've been through, and allowing it to guide you forward into some new chapters with greater emotional maturity and stability. A lot of emotional processing here. I feel it bringing about a renewal and closing out chapters that maybe were really difficult. Because when we talk about Scorpio, there's pain, there's trauma, there's deep emotional wounds that can be present here. But the Scorpio journey is in the empowerment that comes about by facing those parts of ourselves or facing those past experiences. And so I feel like what this Pisces lunar eclipse is doing is helping to cleanse and purge anything that really is not meant to go forward with you. And you're probably sensing it through the discomfort of confinement. It's like the emotional body is getting some really big messages right now, and the mind is trying to compartmentalize it, figure it out. Where do I put this? Where do I sort this? So there could be a messiness here. This Jupiter at 19 Cancer has been in a square to that Mars at 20 degrees of Libra, which is wanting to be logical, talk it out, look at both sides. Let's have a civil discussion here. And then Jupiter in Cancer, the square is almost like this emotional flooding. It's like, but this is how I feel, and this is what's coming up. And it can bring up the big feelings, the big responses and reactions. It can also be more sensitive, even more defensive from this logical Mars in Libra that isn't tapped in to the emotional undercurrents. It could be like having a conversation with someone and you're approaching it in a very factual way, and this is what I'm perceiving, and this is what's happened, and this, and the other thing. And then here comes this big, unexpected wave of emotion from someone, and they've been holding it. Because Cancer holds the energy until there is a release point. The Cancer energy has to learn to regulate because it can be very hot or cold, all or nothing. And so this is going to be part of what is coming up through this Water Grand Trine. The logical, rational self is actually not supported right now. That isn't the way to approach what you're feeling. You're meant to feel the feels. And both this Jupiter in Cancer and this Mars in Libra are getting closer to an interaction with this Chiron at 26 degrees of Aries retrograde, what you've been healing because of what you've been learning about yourself. Now, Chiron brings up the pain, but there's always a promise with Chiron. And the promise is you're going to get through it. You stay the course with the medicine and with an openness to what needs to be taken care of. So Chiron requires you to be open, honest, and truthful around parts of yourself that don't always feel confident or strong. And actually, let me do, Mars is going to get to the opposition first to Chiron. And when Mars gets to that opposition, Mars is ruling Chiron in Aries, because Aries is ruled by Mars. And so this is going to be a trigger from another person, a conversation, a connection, a partnership. Something comes up and it shows you how far you've come in what you're healing. It's in the best and highest way, it gives you a detached perspective to check in and say, oh, wow, okay, this is my response, or this is what I'm thinking. And then this Jupiter is going to move forward too and have this square. And that brings up what you've been holding emotionally that relates to family, ancestors, your childhood. And so this Jupiter is going to be bringing in, but this is how you really feel. And you can't talk away the feelings. You can't rationalize the feelings or project them even. There's ownership here when this Jupiter in Cancer makes an exact square. This is how I really feel. And maybe you trace it back to childhood or a previous chapter in your life. This is also occurring in the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra. So it's meant to propel you towards a new start. That's the intention, is to look at the fact that I can do this in a new way now. I'm being moved towards a beginning. And even if it's emotional and painful, I'm going to heal through it and I'm going to be ready from a stronger place internally, stronger and more confident in your self-awareness and personal needs. So this is going to bring up what you need. And maybe the need is understanding this is what I need and I haven't been getting it. This is what feels good. This is what needs to be received. These are also planets of reciprocal energy. So Cancer and Libra are about reciprocal energy exchanges. Cancer is the open, vulnerable sharing of emotions with those you trust. And then Libra is the conversations and communications that we engage in with others. So as this lunar eclipse is unfolding, it will be bringing up a lot here in Pisces in your chart. And then in the background, if you will, the minor grand trine is quite strong with this Pluto at 1 degree retrograde of Aquarius, Uranus at 1 degree retrograde Gemini, and they are pointing to that Neptune at 1 degrees Aries retrograde as well. So they're all at 1 degrees. They create this minor grand trine with Neptune at the apex. So think of this as like a cosmic arrow pointing to the new start that is forming and coming together. Yes, I've been talking about this a lot because these are the slow moving energies that deeply impact us. It's almost like keep your sights on the bigger picture, on the horizon. Yes, there's things in front of you that need to be figured out. But I guess I'm feeling it, don't lose hope, because Neptune in Aries is optimistic. It is connected to the new beginnings that are meant to show up for you, that have your name on it. That's the Aries frequency. It's for you. But this is a time of closing out what cannot go with you. And there could be more that can't go with you than you first realized. And I'm feeling like this Water Grand Trine is a washing machine that is churning and spinning and agitating the energies, all to cleanse the emotional body and the soul's energy at a deeper level. But the minor Grand Trine is saying the new is happening. It's all in retrograde right now, right? So maybe you've gotten those visions of a life transformation, of exciting new potentials and choices that are activating your life force and bringing in new dreams, new life dreams. And so that is on the horizon. But right now, in your present reality, there is deeper emotional work to move through, to learn from so it's not repeated, to call in new methods of self-care, new ways of trusting yourself and what you're feeling, closing out and continuing the transformation in what feels like home to you at a soul level. But to also responsibly and effectively manage all of these energies or feelings so that you still can be grounded in what you need to do today. Virgo is the present moment. Virgo is also deeply connected to how your body is feeling all this. And if you're really stressed and you aren't taking care of that stress in the body, it's going to affect your sleep. So there's something about important stress management right now. This lunar eclipse is quite messy and big, and that serves a purpose. And it guides us into our Virgo solar eclipse 2 weeks later, which is a reset. I'll have some videos discussing that shortly for you. But we are resetting our lives. We are moving into new emotional territory that is a timeline shift. And you could just feel maybe that old parts of yourself and old parts of your world are ending and closing out. That can bring up the grief, sadness, disappointment, or melancholy around what you have to leave behind in order to move forward. There's a lot of in-between energy here. You could really feel like you are in between versions of your life and versions of yourself. In fact, even most of 2025 has been about these themes, where you're not fully landed in the new, even though you sense it and feel it. But it is coming, so don't lose faith. Don't give up hope. And I guess I want to end with the fact that Pisces is not only unity consciousness, it's divine timing. It's the miracle matrix that even when you don't see it, it can be aligning and coming together in a higher and better way. And if you have felt like you've been in a holding pattern for 2025, that is the energy of right now. But let the universe do its work. It's working through you, it's working with you. And the more that you're able to stay focused on the higher frequencies, the more you're going to be able to trust that. So in your chart, you want to identify where you have 15 degrees of Pisces by house placement, as this is where the Pisces changes are going to be showing up for you. And with Neptune as the ruling planet here, this minor grand trine is really important. And as you maybe have heard, I've just released a new program discussing how this minor grand trine between Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto unfolds into 2029. So what is coming up now is the beginning of a 4-year, 5-year life-changing process that is moving you into new territory in your life with your name on it. And this is the cleaning up, finishing up of an old way of life. And yet the minor grand trine is going to be showing you more of what you're ready for that is divinely timed. Please check out that program, because there's so much in there that helps you plan and prepare and know what is coming for you. And that can really help, especially if September is quite big and is quite emotional. So I just want to offer that in case you want to go further into your own chart and how this minor grand trine is going to be a very important chapter for all of us. I'll put the info and link below the video, and I'll be back shortly. We can discuss the Virgo solar eclipse that's coming up at the equinox. It's coming up right before that Libra equinox. A lot of important energy there too. So travel with greater faith and connection to your intuition and your spirit guides, and know that this will all make sense. It will make sense, even if it's confusing in the moment. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate your comments and your likes and your subscribes, and thanks for sharing this video in your groups with others who would also benefit from this information. Wishing you a beautiful Pisces lunar eclipse.